episode of Mrs. Danielle DeVita. I am Danielle, and this is my husband, Lawrence.
Hey guys.
So, we're going to talk about two different things today. We're going to talk about submission, guys, and we're also going to talk about respect and how that works with income. Men of different incomes, whether they're making more, equal, or less, equal or less than the woman they're with, and how the woman would show her respect based on a man's income. And these are just our opinions and our thoughts for both a female and a male perspective. So let's get started. All right. So go ahead and tell me what you think works for many men, their thoughts about, let's start with submission, women submitting, and then men of different incomes. What do you think that looks like for them?
Yeah, so I think when it comes to submission, all men, well, not all men, but each man probably treats it a little bit differently, right? So some men are more headstrong about submission, and I think that has to do with being maybe a bit more controlling, or wanting to have too much control over a woman. But my thoughts personally are, I feel like submission really goes both ways, right? We talked about this before. Women want love, men want respect. So I think all men want to be respected to a certain degree. And I feel like respect can be shown through some forms of submission.
Okay, so with when guys talk about submission? Is there some type of levels to it based on income? The guy who's making six figures versus the guy who's the working man, and the guy who hasn't gotten there. Does submission look different to them? Is the requirement different for them and what they're looking for in a woman?
Well, I don't really think it's about income as much as it is about personality, right? So, I mean, if you have a, pretty humble man in a sense, they're not going to go around touting, oh, I make such and such dollar amount, I want you to submit to me, or I want you to do this, I want my food on the table when I get home, I want, my clothes folded up, those type of things. I feel like, respect has to go both ways, right? And for a true man, if he really wants his woman to respect him and submit to him, then he's going to do the things that it takes to be able to earn that, right? And that's to be humble, be kind, be hardworking, and those type of things.
All right, yeah. Now, I will say there are some men on social media that feel that with their income, it requires a certain level of submission from women. And I say the reason why I'm bringing income up is because typically in many people's daily lives, with the working men, the average earning men, you don't hear it as much as you hear it now, with people equating this level of submission with being high valued. The high earning man requires this, which I agree with what you said. All men want to be respected no matter what income level, but right. It seems like some women only give a certain level of submission based on a man's income, and the men of certain income are demanding it more now than ever, is what you're hearing on social media.
Yeah, you are, and I think a lot of that has to do with some level of insecurity from the man. Like if you're asking and demanding submission in that type of way, like really what's causing the man to really ask for that? Is it something that happened in their life while they were growing up, or what level of insecurity does that look like? Because at the end of the day, that man is missing out on something personally to where he feels like he has to have that much more self-control over someone else. So I feel like that just goes back to, to a level of insecurity in the man. So I don't really think that it has anything to do with the woman. Only time it really has something to do with the woman is when the woman is maybe being disrespectful or not paying the man any respect. Then the man may tout like, oh, I'm the breadwinner. I do this. I work hard. So I want respect. But if a true woman is really respecting her man, regardless of his position in life, then a true man will be humble enough to respect her back, and that's how you gain proper submission.
Okay. All right. So, do you feel respected in our
Yeah,
marriage?
absolutely, baby. For sure, for sure. I ain't never had no issues with that.
Do you feel that I submit to you in the way that you want?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, for people who are not understanding, what is your version of submission when a woman submits to her man?
So my version is just having respect, right? Um, you know, um, like you said, I like words of affirmation, right? That's what she said. So, telling me things that I like to hear, those type of things. Being positive, being encouraging, and really, to be honest, that's something that can really go both ways. That's just not something that a man should require from his woman, but really a man should make that his duty to provide those things to his girlfriend or wife as well. So it really, that's why I say submission goes both ways. It doesn't go just one way. While men want a woman to respect them, that may be the form of submission they want. While a woman may want love and care, things like that. That's still a act of submission. You're submitting to your woman that you're gonna love them, you're gonna treat them gentle, things like that. So submission really goes both ways. So I don't know whoever came up with the notion that submission is only for a woman, because it's really not.
Right. And I'm glad that you said that, because a lot of times when people think of submission, they do think of, okay, it's the woman submitting to his every need. A lot of times people think of it as in the bedroom, but I think that it should be beyond the bedroom submitting in that way. It should be um, submitting, in a lot of ways to your leadership. If I
Gotcha.
consider you the leader, I'll submit to that. And of course, my job as a woman is to have the wisdom to make sure the man that's in my life is fulfilling the leadership roles and his responsibilities, which makes it easier for me to submit to that. Um, but yes, so you're saying it should be both ways. The same way I submit to you in some level of respect, you submit back with love and
Correct.
and things
Correct.
like that. So okay.
So let me ask you a question. So why do you think most women are apprehensive when it comes to submitting to a man?
I think the phrase, when we hear it, what we've been taught is women submitting to a man, and it's usually some type of physical way, some domesticated way, an outdated version of what it is to submit. It's not a full level of understanding what it really means to submit. We just hear it, and it's always a negative connotation, like, women, you need to do this. And it's as if women are not doing enough. I think when people have said the term submit to your husband, when people explained it, they did not bring all of the scriptures that followed it and all that it entailed, because that whole scripture was not just for a woman. It is, like you said, things that a man should do, and it's a level of reciprocity in that.
Absolutely.
But it was on different levels. When in the Bible, when it said women submit to your husbands, men love your wives, you're saying loving is a form of that submission. And
Absolutely.
I think people just kind of heard one side, and it just became more like, a negative thing, and women are hearing it, and it's in their head, and so they looked at it like, and then if they didn't have good interactions with men, saying that sounds bad. I mean, think about it. Even if it was said in that way, the way it was said, if every man that you dealt with was worthy of the leadership role that he was trying to take on, you would not have a problem with it.
Absolutely.
If every man fulfilled whatever responsibility, that word would not sound bad. But when you couple that word with a man who you felt that was in your life that was not worthy, that word sounds scary. But no, I mean, when people say that word and I hear it, I I feel blessed to submit to you.
Oh, wow.
Because I know in this household there's no tyranny, right?
Right.
There's
Right.
no dictatorship.
Mm-hmm.
So me submitting to you doesn't sound as scary as a woman who otherwise hear that word and that's what they hear, dictator. They hear I sit here while you go out and partake in other women's lives and do other things that most women think that I should sit there and deal with.
Right.
Like you're not that guy.
Right.
So
yeah, for me too, like I just feel like, the whole thing is kind of weird in a sense. And the reason I say that is when you really think about it, when you think about submission in the more traditional sense, it's, women and some men portray it as a woman, like you said, sitting at home, cooking, cleaning, taking care of the kids. And it's like, did I marry or am I dating a maid? Like, is that what I want? Or like even, men wanting their women to fix their food. Like, I have no issue with that, but like requiring your woman to do that, I feel like, like I'm a grown man. Like I fix my own plate. I tell you that all the time when I fix my.
I fix his
I'm
plate
not really
often.
I'm
Now
not
at
really
home
into
we'll
that
do it,
much.
but he likes to fix his own plate when he goes out, especially if it's someone he doesn't know about their cooking because he wants to.
Yeah, I'm a little weird. I don't eat
Yeah,
cooking.
he likes
That's
to
just me.
see what is put on the plate.
Yeah,
to
and I
know
don't
if-
like my food to touch. I'm just weird like that. So
Yeah, so but yeah, so I think that yeah, like we said, the word it just depends on who's listening and what past experiences they've had coupled with that word and what it means to them.
exactly.
Now,
Good
we
point.
are Christians, so when we hear that word, we don't take the biblical context of that word, but then live non-Christian lifestyles. So I think if you're going to take on that word, then you might as well live the full lifestyle that word was meant to imply for these people. Like because it's a biblical term, but if you want to take it out of biblical terms, it's what he said. It means respect. Like you can do that no matter what your belief is. You can respect the person that you decided to marry. You decided to date. Why not? If you don't feel that they're worthy of your respect, why are you even with them? So
exactly.
All right. So now we're gonna move on and we're gonna talk about income.
Okay. So what you want to talk about?
If you had, would you want your woman making more than you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have an issue with that. Like, I'm practical and I'm real when it comes to these type of things. Like, we live in a society where, it's a 2 income household, and why would you want anyone making less just so you could say you make more? Like, I feel like that's just
yes, and generally you're
work.
saying you don't. Okay, but in your thought process, in your feeling, I know you don't want someone making less just for your ego, but as a man, how would you feel if I made more than you on on consistently? Basically, I am pretty much the breadwinner. Basically,
So I feel like this, like, that comes back to the factor of respect. I know that you respect me. You respect me as a man. You respect that I go out every day and work hard to try to provide for my family. So if that level of respect is still there, then I'm not made to feel bad about making less money. And as long as you can see and you're comfortable with the ambition that I'm putting out to try to better myself and to try to do more. I'm not just standing still, I'm not just stagnant. Then at that point, income really isn't a factor, whether I make more or less. But I feel like it all starts with the respect piece. You know, like if you down a man because he doesn't make that much money, or you guys make the same pay, then that's gonna hurt and shatter his ego, like it just is. You know, I
Yeah.
feel like every man wants to be the provider. They want to be the problem solver. Any real man does. You know, so if a man isn't made to feel belittled or minimized because of the lack of income that he may have, then I don't really think it's an issue.
Now, see, you are very ambitious, so I don't even think that you would stay in that in that position. If at any point I made more, it would not last. I just think he's just the kind of hustler that if he did at any point make less, it would literally be momentarily.
Well, yeah, I'm just not a
But
satisfied person. I thank God for what we have. We're highly blessed, and I thank God every day for that. But I'm just the type of person where I live ambition, and you're the same way. You live ambition as well. So, and I think that's one of the reasons we've been blessed to be as successful as we are from that standpoint. It's just a never satisfied type attitude, and anyone who has that type of attitude, that type of grit, they're always gonna be successful.
okay, so making more, how does that make you feel as a man, knowing that you are the breadwinner and you can maintain that status of being able to
Oh
take
yeah,
care of your
that
family?
makes me feel good. That makes me feel really good. It just makes me feel like I'm able to take care of my family. I'm able to be the reason why you know my family's happy, why you're happy, why our kids are happy, and it makes me feel highly blessed, and got to give glory to God for that. But at the end of the day, I mean, as a man, like you always gonna feel good if you handle your business. That's just how it is.
Okay, so now we're gonna get to some level of truth here. Okay,
Okay.
so you said that any real man would want to be the provider, the breadwinner. He's not okay with, even if he did make less, he's
Correct.
not as okay doing
Absolutely.
that to make him
Absolutely.
equal
One
or
hundred
less.
percent.
His As a real man wants to be the breadwinner, wants to be the
Oh yeah.
provider and
Absolutely.
the caretaker, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. So truth bomb here. I think that a lot of women naturally would not, what's the word I'm looking for?
Would not want a man to make less money.
The respect would not be there if he makes less. So now I'm saying this because I believe in respecting people both ways. And if you ever did
I
make
better not
less,
lose my job then, huh?
if you ever made less, I will always respect you. But I think naturally the way we're wired is for men to be that provider, whatever it is, the financial provider, the protector, the one who has all the answers, can solve all things, can fulfill our needs emotionally and in every way, right? So when women are getting in that position of being the caretaker,
Mm-hmm.
now we flip scripts. So I'm in my feminine when you are in your masculine, and most men are in their masculine when they are the provider of some sort. They feel the macho, right?
Good point.
Then
Good
women
point.
feel more like, oh, I'm the feminine. But it's harder for women to be the feminine when they are the caretaker, when they are the provider, when they are doing the hustling and the bustling, right? Not to say women can't be breadwinners and be feminine, but when they are in a relationship, a feminine masculine dynamic type relationship, and it appears that she would lose lose respect or not have as much respect if she was the provider. What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, I think that's true. I mean, that has a ring of truth to it. I'm sure that any woman would be proud to tout their man in their profession and in how much money they make. I mean, and you bring up a good point about men and women working in their true beings. So for instance, a man is made to hunt, to provide, and things like that, while a woman was made, I feel like, to be more of a caretaker and things like that. Now obviously, with societal norms changing on a day-to-day basis, we kind of get away from that, but I still feel that we're at our best when we're in our natural
Masculinity.
beings. Yeah, correct.
Yeah, and again, when I say this, I don't mean at there's a moment in time where you are being a provider. Maybe the guy lost his job or he stepped down. I'm not talking about those times. I'm saying this is consistent. This is the norm, right? This is the norm that you as the woman are the provider and the man is not. And again, I'm not talking about for a moment of time. Eventually, because it naturally can get to a man when he's not able to provide, it gets to his self-esteem. Naturally there's going to be a change in dynamic of how she sees and views him over time. So does that bother you to hear that's how women are wired to feel?
I mean, no, I'm not dealing with that, so it don't bother me. I'm just being honest. But no, to be honest though, no, because I feel like this, as you were just saying that, it made me realize too that if you're a true man and you're bothered enough by not making more than your woman, then you're gonna do something about it, right? You're gonna go out, you're gonna get a second job, you're gonna do whatever it takes to provide and to bring in more income. And with that being said, if you are in that position and you are a true man, then you won't be there for long. And I mean, let's face it too. There's relationships out there where the woman's more educated than the man. That happens a lot. I mean, I think there's a study done that shows that what African American women are the most educated of any woman or
No
man
group right now.
in the United States, I believe. So with that being said, there's going to be a lot of examples to where women have advanced degrees over men, and they may leverage those to get better and higher paying jobs. But that doesn't mean that since the man doesn't make more than a woman, that he still can't do other things to provide and things like that. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so what do you say to a guy? Because I think social media has made it believe that everyone can make six figures, everyone can be there. But most people are average earners. I don't see anything wrong with that. I don't see anything wrong with making, um, normal income. You're middle class most likely or
Yeah,
working class, but some men are made to feel bad about that, and I don't think that changes of your value as a man. I don't think that changes your value as a woman wherever you
absolutely
work.
not.
Even if you're working at a retail store, that doesn't change your value. I think mindset can change your value. How you feel like you work and how you portray out to the world can do that. So what do you say to men who feel like, well, I'm just the average earner? How can he get the confidence or get whatever he needs or the hustle to get where he wants to be at this point in time?
Well, I think kind of just got to get out of your own way, right? You gotta speak things that are not as though they are. So whatever it is in life that you want, go after it. If you want to open your own business, start. If you want a promotion on your job, you want to make more money, then go for that promotion or find another company to go work for that's going to pay you more money. It really all it really all boils down to being consistent and not being stagnant, right? Some people get comfortable, and we talked about this earlier. People who have a hunger and a hunger that doesn't leave, they're always going to be successful. They're always going to end up on top, no matter how many times you knock them down, because they want more out of life, right? And then also part two to that is, you know, the woman has a lot to do with that as well. How is the woman making him feel? If the man's putting out and you see that your man's putting out 100% of himself, you got to support him in that, and vice versa. Men have to support the women as well. So if you can do that, then I feel like it makes for a better household and a better situation overall.
Okay, awesome. All right. Well, do you have anything you want to add to anything we said?
No, maybe you said it all.
All right. Well, thank you all for tuning in. We hope that this was enlightening to kind of hear another perspective and more in a calm setting, because sometimes we watch these things on social media and everyone's so hyped up when they talk about these things and about, submission with pointing the finger and so much. So we kind of want to have it more in a relaxed setting where we can talk about these things, but be honest. And, sometimes the truth hurts for some people if they're listening, and sometimes you're like, oh, I knew that. So it is what it is. But thanks for tuning in to Mrs. Danielle DeVita. If you want to know more about my content, you are able to go to mrsdanielledevita.com. If you want to know more about what I speak about, which is femininity, relationships, dating and relationships, and marriages as well. And again, I'm Danielle. This is my husband, Lawrence.
Thanks, guys.
Right, take care.
Peace.
Never wanna hurt again. Never wanna cry again.